Well, for the second year in a row, we have come up 3 points shy in the Super Bowl. We lost to Kansas City 41-38. We got a lot of help in that offseason with the goal of getting back to the Super Bowl to try to get the win. We end up building a really good team. We go 16-1 in the regular season, managed to get back to the Super Bowl, but then lose to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in overtime 30-27. So that now sets up for us to go into the offseason to try to get even better yet again so we can finally come back to win a Super Bowl in Season 5. First thing first though, we have to go over stats for the season, and quarterback Nick Samuel had an absolutely insane year. Over 6,000 yards, 45 touchdowns for a career high, and 7 interceptions, which is a career low, and a 72% pass completion percentage. He was absolutely on fire all year. But we also cannot forget about running back Kendre Miller, who finished with 1,700 rushing yards and 24 touchdowns on the season. Backup running back Puka Williams ran for 209 yards and 3 scores. Nick Samuel got 2 rushing touchdowns, Lyle Yarbrough got a touchdown, and Adonis Pleasance got a touchdown. Another player that just had an insane year was wide receiver Jared Bartow. 112 receptions, almost 1,700 yards, finished 1 yard shy of that mark, and 19 receiving touchdowns. Very clearly Nick Samuel's favorite target this year. Quentin Johnston got 89 catches for 1,400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Braden Willis caught 7 touchdowns this year. The rookie receiver Adonis Pleasance, 868 yards and 5 touchdowns. A.T. Perry got 5 touchdowns. Jerry Brooks, our backup tight end, got 2 scores. Puka Williams caught 1, Kendre Miller caught 1, and Devin Duvernay caught 1. Our star middle linebacker Darnell Waters ended up leading our team in tackles with 127 of them. In sacks, that's going to go to Hassan Reddick, who came away with 16 on the year. Javon Hargrave got 9. DeMarcus Lawrence got 6.5. Perion Winfrey came away with 3.5. Shaq Barrett got 2.5. And Reggie Bowe, a rookie corner, came away with 2. Interceptions, though, Jalen Ramsey got 7. Jawan Hurts got 5. And I really think not having him in the playoff/Super Bowl run really hurt the defense. Reggie Bowe came away with 2, and then Darnell Waters and Eddie Jackson both got 1. Harrison Butker has been our kicker the last couple seasons. Last year he went 29 of 33. This year he went 31 of 33. We will see if that was good enough to earn the Best Kicker award. Probably not, because I can never seem to win that. I would be willing to bet it shocks absolutely nobody to see that Nick Samuel led the league in passing yards, since he was the first quarterback ever to throw for 6,000. And touchdowns, he also led the league with 45, and the most interceptions goes to Davis Mills, who was apparently the Vikings quarterback all season. And I also like to see who was the most accurate quarterback with a decent amount of attempts. It was Trevor Lawrence, who completed 75%. That's just absurd. And just in case you want to feel bad for a virtual quarterback, Carson Hitchens was sacked the most this year at 46 times. The most rushing attempts this season was Saquon Barkley with 371 attempts, and then Kendre Miller is right behind him at 365, and the drop-off after that is pretty significant. But the most yards also goes to Saquon Barkley, but the most touchdowns goes to Kendre Miller with his 24. Who fumbled the ball the most? It is quarterback Nick Samuel. Well, that's not what I want to see at all. I don't know what kind of offense New England is running, but Juju led the league in receptions with 127. Jared Bartow and Jamar Chase tie for second place with 112 receptions. Most yards goes to Bartow, and most touchdowns also goes to Jared Bartow. The Texans middle linebacker David Long ends up leading the league in tackles with 162. Sacks goes to Micah Parsons with 18. Chris Jones got 17. I don't know why Hassan Reddick isn't up here, because he got 16. But interceptions goes to Jalen Ramsey, who came away with 7. And who had the most fumbles forced this year? That's just something I want to see. That would be J.O.K. in Cleveland, who forced 3. And by far the most field goals made is Harrison Butker with 31, along with the most attempts. But the most accurate kicker that kicked at least 10 field goals is Brandon McManus for 94%. But how about extra point attempts? That would go to Harrison Butker with 71, made 68 of them, but apparently Evan McPherson never missed one this year. And there is one record that I want to go over real fast that the game does not keep track of, and I really wish EA was better about stuff like that. The 2013 Denver Broncos, who only played 16 games, you have to keep that in mind, they scored 606 points. Well, obviously, we have broken that record. We had to do 17 games, though, but we got 625 points scored. Now, I will say, when you break that down into a points per game category, they still own that record because that offense was absolutely insane. But just so you guys see the official record, Nick Samuel, the first quarterback ever to throw for 6,000 yards. But now let's take a look at some league awards. And I would say this is another thing that is not a shock at all. I talked about it throughout the entire regular season that Nick Samuel was a league MVP favorite. He has officially won the award, and Coach of the Year goes to Coach Ty Downing for the Oklahoma City Bison. But now let's take a look at the AFC awards first. Starting with Offensive Player of the Year, that goes to Jamar Chase. Defensive Player of the Year is TJ Watt. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Brandon Allen. I believe that is the quarterback for the Jets. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Taylor Rudnick in Cincinnati. Best quarterback is Joe Burrow. Best running back is Jonathan Taylor. Best receiver is Jamar Chase. Best offensive lineman is Creed Humphrey. Best D-line is Chris Jones. Best linebacker goes to TJ Watt. Best DB goes to Amani Hooker, and best kicker goes to Dom Fowler in Jacksonville. Now, this is a bit absurd. The NFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Jared Bartow. Second place is Kendre Miller. Third place is Nick Samuel. So we get the top 3 spots here on this list, which, our offense was really, really good. We do not get Defensive Player of the Year. That goes to Micah Parsons. We do have someone up here, though. Hassan Reddick ends up in 3rd place, and Jalen Ramsey ends up in 6th place. I was a little bit disappointed by this. Adonis Pleasance does not win Offensive Rookie of the Year. That goes to Joe McInnes, a wide receiver for Carolina. However, we do get the Defensive Rookie of the Year and defensive back Reggie Bowe. Now to run through the rest of the awards, best quarterback goes to Nick Samuel, best running back goes to Kendre Miller, best wide receiver goes to Jared Bartow, best O-line goes to Aaron St. Louis. I believe he's actually one of our backup linemen. I could be wrong, but that's a little bit weird. Our entire offensive line is up here, though. That's always fun to see. Best D-line goes to Micah Parsons. Hassan Reddick got 2nd. Best linebacker goes to Jalen Phillips. Do we get anyone up here? I'm really shocked that Darnell Waters did not make this list. Best defensive back goes to Jalen Ramsey. 2nd place is Jawan Hurts. You gotta love to see that. And best kicker goes to Brandon McManus. So Harrison Butker gets 2nd. And now we can move on to the actual off-season part of this video. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I really don't know what our strategy is going into this off-season right now. Now, we as the Oklahoma City Bison do not have any retirements, but there are a few big names here. Xavier Howard, DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Rodgers, Darius Slay, Tyrann Mathieu, Darren Waller, Cooper Kupp has retired after only 10 years. James Bradbury retires, Brandon McManus retires, DJ Humphries, Andy Janovich, probably said your last name wrong, Joe Tooney, Keenan Allen retired as a Charger, Mitch Morse, Tyler Lockett has retired, Laken Tomlinson, Leo Collins, and then a few guys that just weren't really on a team. Jordan Phillips has retired. He was on our team for a few years here, and I don't really see anyone else that was on our team at any point. As we get ready to head into this offseason, we have $181 million in cap, mainly because all of our really good players are still on their rookie contracts, but we have 23 players that are ready to negotiate. There is a pretty obvious decision to make here at quarterback, but why does he not have any re-sign interest? Do I need to change anything here? His highest thing is values financials. Okay, no, so eventually I just have to give him just a crap load of money, but we are going to go and take the 5th-year option on quarterback Nick Samuel. Not really much of a decision. Now, there is a decision here with defensive back Jalen Ramsey. He's down to a 95 overall, but still has 94-man coverage, currently has a boost there. I think we're going to try to get him back on a 1-year deal. How about a 1-year, $24 million contract just to come back and be that elite defensive back I know he can still be, and he will be returning. The next player up is wide receiver Quentin Johnston. Now, there were moments this year he was really, really good for us, but moments where he could not haul it in when he really needed to. I think for right now, we're going to let him walk to free agency. We may try to bring him back, though. Now, the next player I definitely want to try to keep, running back Kendre Miller, only 25 years old. We've had him the entire series, coming off an absolutely absurd season, but he apparently wants a mentor at the position, and we have no one with that player tag. So we're going to try to bring him back, but he may hit free agency. Now, generally, I am not really one to want to pay running backs a ton of money, but I will offer him a 2-year contract. If he takes it, he takes it, and great. If not, we will look to bring him back or draft a new running back, or maybe find one in for agency. But a 2-year offer is not the offer he is interested in signing. I feel like we're pretty deep at wide receiver right now, so we are going to let A.T. Perry walk. We'll see if he can go play somewhere else. Once again, another guy that might come back in for agency. Left tackle Ronnie Stanley, I paid a decent amount last year, and I feel like we barely had him. He had injury issues all year, so we're also not going to offer him a contract. The next guy I want to offer is safety Andrew Jordan. He has been a solid backup for us. He was an undrafted free agent a couple years ago. We're going to try to bring him back on a 2-year deal, and he is going to be testing free agency. Well, we lost our main running back. Can we keep running back Lyle Yarbrough on a cheap 2-year deal? Yes, he will be returning. We are also going to be offering left guard Jared Hoover a 1-year deal. He's been a pretty solid backup for us, and he will be returning as well. Well, you guys, I'm not going to lie. This one hurts a little bit. Puka Williams' contract is up, and he became 28 years old and has regressed a bit here. He is down to a 68 overall. Even though he's been with us the entire time, Puka Williams will not be returning. Well, it looks like backup quarterback Dalton Sawicki also doesn't want to come back here, so we're not going to offer him a contract. Not a huge loss because he's a 66 overall, but kind of surprising to me. DeMarcus Lawrence is now an 80 overall, 35-year-old left end that wants $11.6 million a year. Yeah, we're going to let you walk as well. And for a lot cheaper, we're going to sign Ogbanya Okoronkwo. He's been with us, I think, the entire series, and he is also re-signed. You know, Harrison Butker has been really good for us, so let's go ahead and give him a 1-year offer, and he will be coming back as well. But from here, everyone else will be hitting free agency. They're either old and want a little bit too much money to be like a backup player, or I think we could even get better in the draft or free agency. So obviously there will be some new holes on this team, like we need a new backup quarterback because both of those guys are leaving, and running back is going to be a pretty glaring need. And I didn't even notice we lost both of our offensive and defensive coordinators. For our offensive coordinator, we're going to hire Lewis Bishop, who apparently runs the offensive scheme and playbook of Pistol. I don't really know how much those actually matter, but we're going to go ahead and hire him. And then for our defensive coordinator, we will hire Brian Harper, who has a 4-3 under defensive scheme. That is what we ran all of last season. I really did not even check to see if either one of our coordinators got poached a couple weeks ago. I'm glad I decided to check the fill staff button now. Well, looking at these staff moves, I can see that Ed Green, I believe that was our offensive coordinator. He has taken the job with the LA Rams. But if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I don't remember who my defensive coordinator even was. Looking at our roster now, we are definitely going to need a running back, and wide receiver 2 is a pretty big need. I still feel like we are fine at tight end. I may actually end up trading Jerry Brooks this offseason. A superstar depth trade, I feel like we should be able to get a bit for him. Then over on defense, I would say we still need a right outside linebacker. I believe I moved Marion over to that last season and then had Shaq Barrett playing left outside linebacker. Free safety is definitely a massive issue because we let Eddie Jackson walk. At corner, I feel like we are perfectly fine. I shouldn't even need to draft anybody, but the defensive line is definitely going to need some help. Now, obviously, Kendre Miller is available in free agency here at a 90 overall, has no interest in coming back here. We're going to offer this 4-year contract, which is the neutral offer that he actually wants here. And we're going to see who we are in point totals. And we are in second behind the Chargers, who are offering a lot of money, or he has a lot more interest. So I think we're going to have to move on from Kendre Miller, which really sucks to me. But moving on from Kendre Miller, here are the offers that I have thrown out in this stage of free agency. Tight end Luke Musgrave, wide receiver A.T. Perry, outside linebacker Pete Werner, left tackle Deion Dawkins, and defensive tackle DJ Reader. Are any of them going to become members of the Oklahoma City Bison? And, okay, so at first everyone was gone. I was a little afraid. We got Deion Dawkins, Pete Werner, and Luke Musgrave. Just waiting on DJ Reader and A.T. Perry now. Alright, the next 5 contracts I am throwing out starts with quarterback Baker Mayfield. He's actually been our backup quarterback before. He was our backup when Nick Samuel was a rookie. He was a part of a trade to Seattle where we got Tyler Lockett. He then spent a couple years there as a starter, now back in free agency. So let's see if he wants to come to Oklahoma at the end of his career here, probably at 32 years old. May stay in the league a couple more years at a 70 overall. But then free safety John Johnson, wide receiver A.T. Perry. I went ahead and offered a contract back to DeMarcus Lawrence. We have plenty of cap space for this season, so even overpaying him for a 1-year rental is whatever. And then defensive tackle DJ Reader. We upped his offer as well. And do we get any of them here? We end up getting, let's see, we have DJ Reader, Deion Dawkins, Pete Werner, John Johnson, Luke Musgrave, and Baker Mayfield. But now we're waiting on Lawrence and A.T. Perry. Moving on to the next stage, we end up landing DeMarcus Lawrence and running back Joe Mixon. I added him for the final stage. The only player left here is Michael Gallup, and I don't see A.T. Perry, so I assume A.T. Perry has now signed with another team, and he is headed to Seattle. And it took a bit longer, but now we have landed wide receiver Michael Gallup, so this will be our entire free agent class. Before we jump into the final mock draft here and the private workouts, let's go ahead and take a look at the free agency recap and see where everyone signed. Our running back Kendre Miller ends up going to the Chargers, Ronnie Stanley is now a Jet, Tyreek Hill re-signed with Miami, Dawson Knox is headed to Indianapolis. These guys did not sign. Daron Payne is a Bear, Quentin Johnson is now headed to Vegas, and Kenny Moore is a Steeler. Now, as we get ready for the NFL draft, here is a recap of our draft picks. We have the 31st pick in the draft since we lost in the Super Bowl. We have our own first, second, and third round pick. We have Indianapolis' fourth round pick. We have 2 5s, 2 6s, and 3 7s. In the current mock draft, we are being mocked free safety Kerry Mayweather out of Auburn. Does not appear to be a bad player, but I can't tell you right now if that's going to be the guy we take or not. For the private workouts, I've decided to use it on running back Eli Craig, who is a day 3 projection. I want to know a bit more about him. Wide receiver Sean Richardson is projected in days 1 to 2, but then wide receiver Rashard Devine is 6'7", so I want to know a bit about him. I have thrown Jerry Brooks into a trade package here to try to see exactly what we can get for him. There are a couple nice offers that actually look solid, like the Giants offering Brian Southward and a 4th and a 7th round pick, but I would really like a pick in this draft. And I will gladly take this trade. We have sent Jerry Brooks to the New York Jets in exchange for a 2nd round pick. I will let you guys know it is a late 2nd round pick. They ended up losing in the AFC Championship game, so it is pick number 30 in the 2nd round, but I could not get an early 2nd round or a late 1st round pick for him. Believe me, I tried. But now at the NFL draft, I am not going to be trading up. Let's go ahead and just see who the Chargers are going to take with the number 1 overall pick. They end up taking left end Reggie McLean, I don't really know how to say it, out of Temple. The Raiders with the 2nd pick take a right end out of Michigan State. The Packers with pick number 3 are going to take an outside linebacker out of Oklahoma State. At pick number 4, the Rams are going to take a quarterback out of Louisville. The first quarterback off the board, Avery Babineau. Now with the 5th pick in the draft, the Houston Texans take a right tackle out of California. Looking through all of the trades here at pick 31, I still want to get picks in this draft. So what I'm going to do is actually take this trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We will fall back 9 spots into the 2nd round, but we pick up a 5th and a 7th. And with that pick from Tampa Bay, we're going to take Lewis Walden out of Florida. He's 6'4", 265 pounds, 22 years old, B awareness, B play rec, A power move, A tackle, A hit power, elite acceleration, solid speed, actually good speed. Lewis Walden, welcome to Oklahoma City with a hidden dev trade. Now here we have back-to-back picks, and I'm going to use one on outside linebacker Lloyd Taylor out of Texas. A pursuit, A tackle, B zone coverage, has elite speed, good acceleration. Taylor, welcome to Oklahoma City with a normal dev trade. Of course, I can't get lucky twice in the 2nd round. Now with the other pick here at pick 31, we're actually going to trade it away to Chicago and pick up a 3rd and a 4th rounder in this draft. Now, I won't lie to you guys here. At pick 17 in the 3rd round, Rashard Devine might be a bit of a reach. He's 6'7", but doesn't have the best attributes. Does have B awareness, but also has F medium and F release. Now, he does have A spectacular catch, catching traffic, and stamina. His speed is listed as decent, acceleration is good. But let's go ahead and bring him into Oklahoma City, and Rashard Devine will have a hidden dev trade. And now a few picks later here at pick 31 in the 3rd round, we're going to take running back Eli Craig out of Notre Dame, 23 years old, which does kind of suck. Probably only a handful of years before he starts to regress, but does have B ball carrier vision, A break tackle, A carrying, A trucking, B stiff arm, and then he also has solid speed and solid acceleration. I don't expect him to be an absolute burner of a running back, but Eli Craig, welcome to Oklahoma City with a hidden dev trade. There are currently only 2 guards that are still projected to actually get drafted. We're going to take one of them in left guard Danny Simmons out of Virginia Tech, and he will come in with a normal dev trade. You know what? Let's go ahead and take the other guard that is still listed as draftable in George Ankrum out of Maryland, and he will come in with actually a hidden dev trade. I kind of did not expect that. Well, this late in the draft, now in the 5th round, I really just kind of throw crap at the wall and see what sticks. We're going to take outside linebacker Tyrone Burks out of Tennessee. He has C block shedding, B tackle. He also has C awareness, A stamina, and then he also has great speed and elite acceleration. So Tyrone Burks, welcome to Oklahoma City with a normal dev trade. We're going to bring in a quarterback to compete with Baker Mayfield. Generally, 5th round quarterbacks, you're not expecting them to start really at any point. But Marshall Boley out of Oregon, welcome to Oklahoma City, and he has a normal depth trait. At the end of round number 5, we're going to take free safety Demarius Dobbs out of Idaho State. With V hit power, I really don't know a lot about him, but he does have C block shed, C play rec, and then D awareness, which isn't great, but good speed, great acceleration. Obviously won't be expecting him to start, but let's see if Dobbs is a hidden depth trait. He will not be. This receiver might end up being a bit of a project. Hell, he may not make the team, but we're now in round number 6, so does it really matter? Wide receiver Landry Stevens out of Boise State with F deep route and F release, but does have A to C catching, which is some of the highest catching left from what I can tell, with good speed and good acceleration. So Landry Stevens, you are now a member of the Bison and a normal depth trait. Then just a handful of picks later here at the end of the 6th round, we're going to take center Curtis Trainer. He is projected as an undrafted free agent, but only 21 years old, B awareness, C pass block, also has C pass block finesse and C run block power. Really don't know anything else there, but does have decent strength, so Curtis Trainer is a normal depth trait, but now a member of the Bison. Now in the final round of the draft, we're going to take corners Tayshawn Kirkpatrick. Granted, we don't need any corners, but it can't hurt to have depth. I think we only got 5 on the roster right now, so Kirkpatrick, welcome to Oklahoma City. We are going to go ahead and take another big receiver here. Wide receiver Curtis Johnson out of USF. With C catching traffic, C catching, he has decent speed and marginal acceleration. A guy I don't really know if he's going to make the roster or not, but welcome to Oklahoma City. We are getting near the end of the draft here, but the next player up is pick number 21 here in round 7, middle linebacker Scott Bryan out of BYU. With C tackle, B zone coverage, great speed, good acceleration. Scott Bryan, welcome to Oklahoma City. And finally, our last pick in the draft will be right guard Stephen Berry out of Miami. Welcome to Oklahoma City with another normal depth trait. Now, checking out the draft recap, we got a 75 overall left end, a 74 overall outside linebacker. Devine is a 70 overall receiver, so not really great for a 3rd round pick, but I still think he can develop. And then Eli Craig is a 75 overall running back. We got a 67 overall guard, a 65 overall guard, a 67 outside linebacker, a 66 quarterback, a 66 safety, a 67 receiver, a 63 center, a 65 corner, a 67 receiver, a 66 middle linebacker, and a 69 guard. So not a terrific draft class, a lot of guys that need to be developed, but I am fine with our running back selection. The top 2 players in the draft were both corners. One went to Los Angeles, well actually they both went to Los Angeles, so one just went to the Rams and one went to the Chargers. The quarterback the Rams took with the 4th overall pick is a 75 overall. The one that the Giants took with pick number 24 is also a 75, and then the one the Buccaneers took is a 73 overall. But that will officially wrap up this offseason. Do I think this team is going to be 16-1 good? If I'm being completely honest with you guys, no, I don't. But I still feel like with our quarterback Nick Samuel, with our number 1 receiver as Jared Bartow, we can still be a really, really good team. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this offseason, and I will talk to you in the next episode, which will be the entire preseason.